Good morning, everyone, and welcome to American Scouters Morning Coffee or Tea with American Scouter on a Monday morning where Grumpy is here. I am Grumpy Matush because a man who deserves a lot better, who has won trophies, has been crucified today. And you know what? We have to stand up for it. He deserved better. He deserved more out of us. Moment of silence for Ten Hag. How are you doing?
Yeah, it is a sad day. West Ham has blood on their hands, and I will never forgive them for what they did. That's pretty much where I'm at with that. Yeah, an era as you can see by my little headline, end of an era. You know, Eric he came in and said that Liverpool and City they had their time, and you know their time was coming to an end. The eras were ending. Well, unfortunately, we never got to see that. But we got to see. We
He
got to
didn't
see.
say when, to be fair to him. He never said
He
when.
did. And you know what, guys? We can poke fun at him all we want. He left with more trophies than Arteta has. So that's
Yeah, I
two
mean,
birds, two birds, one stone, right there.
honestly, more than what he did and what he's done, like the stuff he says, it's almost like a guy who's trying to get fired. Maybe his wife was like, well, you know what? Maybe we'll just take that compensation and go for like a cruise for like 60 years or something like that. Because I mean, you gotta figure. I mean, he has been saying things that I think irk people even more than like the play and stuff like that. Just as like last week, he compared himself, like he put himself in the same like the realm as Mourinho, saying like they're both managers who are used to winning trophies. And I know Mourinho kind of like smirked when he was asked and was like, yeah, he's won some trophies kind of thing. And he just laughed because he's like, you gotta be kidding me. Are you comparing your fucking trophies to my trophies?
All trophies are equal. That's where we're at. You know, that's where we're at. And yeah, it really feels like, you know, in some sort of video game where you have like the be a player mode or be a coach mode, where after every game they ask you a question, they give you those four choices to pick from, and you have to hit one of the buttons on your controller. It every time it feels like he picked the one that was not good, and it just kept bringing his score down, and you would see it pop up, go wrong answer, red -4, and it just goes shoo.
I mean, the problem is, and I think this is, I mean, more power to them. Like, you know, there's already like I saw in the Discord chat, you know, like people discussing who will replace him, who can replace him and stuff. I mean, he is really dug in that hole even further in some ways because he has brought Ajax to the Premier League. And so the person who comes over now, whoever it is, and you know, United have money, they'll still spend it, but they will have to sell a lot of these guys for, you know, pennies for what they got them, like Anthony and stuff like that. But not only that, like they got to dig themselves out of this hole with all these wages and stuff like that. Who is your front runner for the replacements?
That's a good question. I think potentially like you're saying, there is so much damage done, and I think we've talked about the ethos of the club in general, right? I mean, you may not, even if you didn't have as much of the Deadwood situation, you'd still kind of have that the negative ethos that's sort of swimming through that club there to affect it anyway. But with the amount of money he's spent to bring in, like I can only imagine whoever comes in, they're going to need a good year and a half to just get rid of all of the things they need to get rid of before they can even start getting players in that will work. And so it might be a long process. And I don't know if it depends on how the club is viewing this next era, if you will. Like, is this a project for someone younger, you know, that they want to build, or is this a project for someone who's more established that they won't give them as much of a time window, but will give them more of a, hey, do whatever you need with the club kind of thing. So selfishly, I hope it's Southgate because I think it'll make them even worse. But I'm a bit worried it could be someone like Thomas Frank, and I think that would be a good decision for them as a club.
It would be a good decision for them as a club. I just don't know if, you know, I don't even know who can fix this. I think you do need somebody who can, you know, put his fist on the desk and say, "This is what we're doing. This guy is gone. This guy is gone," and make those tough decisions and stuff. And I don't think like Thomas Frank is that guy, for example. I don't think Southgate is that guy either. That's why, hopefully it is Southgate because we'll get some more comedy. But I think, in terms of what it's going to take to clean up, I mean, they give everybody 3 years, right? Even Ten Hag got 3 years at the end of the day. So they give everyone at least 2 to 3 years. So that's one thing the new manager is going to come. But I guess if you have like a career going where you will have different opportunities, do you take an opportunity? I mean, I know these guys all have egos, but they also have brains. So you can take your ego to like more Chelsea situation where you have the talent, you just have to sift or whatever. But I don't even think they really have. I mean, you look at that midfield and stuff like that. I don't think. I mean, they can play a lot better. There's talent on that team to play better as a team, I think. But they're still not like a very good team. They're not a deep team. So why would you risk your career going there? And I do get that the bar is really low, though, right? Like if it's Thomas Frank, whoever comes, they're 14th. So whoever comes in is going to show some kind of improvement. Not to mention the new manager smell, lasting like a month or so. But I mean, like Nagelsmann and somebody like that, why would they take that job where they know if they wait it out, they'll get something better? I mean, you rarely get a slot ordeal where you replace a manager where things are under control or in good shape.
Right.
But there are projects that are a lot closer as opposed to United.
Yeah, and from a United perspective too, the timing of the firing is a bit weird because you had a chance to have Pochettino or Tuchel if you wanted, and they both signed on to jobs, so you don't have those options anymore. So it just seems like there wasn't a lot of
turn him down in the summer, or at least the rumor.
Yeah, I think that was the rumor. But who knows what it would have been like in, let's say, November when he sees what's going on there now. So I think that's the most confusing thing is that the market isn't any better than it was. You could argue that it's actually worse than it was when they were going to fire him in the first place.
Yeah.
And so to your question about who would want to go in there, I don't know. I think it's very much it's going to be a money thing. Yes, I might not be as successful as they want me to be, but I'm going to make some sort of money. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to do what I can, and I'll be there for 2 years or 4 years. If it works out, great. If it doesn't work out, I'm going to make some money, and I'm going to move on to the next project. And I don't think that other clubs afterwards are going to look at that manager in a negative light because of the stint at United. I think there are moments for Ten Hag where he might not get the best job moving because they could kind of see how he was with the media at times, see what the comments he made, kind of see how he played. And I don't know if he'd be the right fit. But coming in to clean up that mess, you might even get a pass for your next job because where were you supposed to go from there kind of thing.
Yeah, it doesn't count as, he sucked at United, but who doesn't kind of a thing is what happens now, right? I mean, I think we've come to that point where every manager is struggling, but that was a no-win anyway kind of an ordeal when somebody goes there. That's a good point. I can see that where people are kind of taking it as, well, I mean, he was at United, but yeah. I mean, Ten Hag will get a job.
Yeah.
Do you think he will get another Premier League job?
They're just going to swap. He's going to go to Brentford. Not this year. I think there's a chance for him to return to the Prem. I just don't think it'll be this year. There's a few teams where you could see a managerial problem, but I don't think any of those teams would work for Ten Hag and what he would be doing right now. But I mean, granted, I don't even know what he's doing. So we all don't know what he's doing. So maybe it would work somewhere, but I don't think he's going to be managing in the Prem this year.
Yeah, I mean, Mourinho is interested. He did say, I mean, he was more complaining about, I think he wants to be able to just coach because I think this is the only week that he has a full week because there's no League Cup or whatever back home. He can actually manage the team. They're not going on international break kind of thing. He did say that, and he did open the door for 2 years down the road to go to a Premier League club and stuff like that because I think he's not enjoying the pressures of Turkey as much as he thought he could handle it, kind of an ordeal. But I do think this Fenerbahce team will do well at in Europe. I mean, I don't know if you got to see any of the United game and stuff like that, but and I know United are shit, but I mean, I look at that lineup that Fenerbahce keeps throwing out there. If they especially make some moves in January and stuff, they will go to the next round, and they could do some damage that could surprise people, especially with Mourinho. I don't think he's been able to implement it, but I know he did say like he would want to go to a team on the bottom half is where
on the up and up.
Yeah, the United is 14th, so there you
That
go.
counts.
But I mean, hey, most people will probably take him in open arms because I don't think it can get any worse than this. But the funny thing is, when initially, until the summer, like it wasn't, there were still a lot of Ten Hag in people. But do you think that's more people are like, let's stop changing managers for God's sakes, more than Ten Hag is the man kind of thing?
Probably more so the first one. They'll look at different clubs. They'll look at Guardiola. They'll look at Klopp. They'll look at Arteta for what it's worth, and see what you could get. Different situations, right? Because Guardiola came into a team that was already good, that still had money. He could get in who he wanted as well. I think if they wanted to compare it to anyone, it would be Klopp or Arteta, in the sense that it wasn't the most amazing first years with either manager. I mean, you could see. With Klopp, especially, you could see the progression. You could see his vision, what he wanted. With Arteta, it was a little bit not so great. It was rough. They were, what was it, 2 years ago, beginning of the year, where they were sitting in the bottom three for the first 4, 5, 6 weeks of the year, and that's the kind of example you might look to, going, well, if you truly believe in this guy's vision and his plan, then you have to stick it out with him. The problem is if you don't know what that vision is. I think that's what it came down to every time, is that he just had an idea of who he wanted on his team. He didn't have an idea of how he wanted them to play. And I think that's sort of, at the end of the day, what really ruined it. And it's so weird because we wouldn't be having this conversation if they score the 4 goals they should have scored in the first half. I mean, you have Dello missing an open goal. You have Garnacho missing what should have gone, and you have Bruno missing a wide open header over the bar. That could have been done at halftime. We wouldn't be having this conversation. So
we would probably have it in 3 weeks.
We would be having it eventually, yeah. But it's just it's a weird. It's just, I guess, if anything, in Ten Hag's defense, this specific game was weird because the players didn't finish their chances, and the penalty at the end was really soft. And so I think from his point of view, if you're looking at it, you're going to fire me after this one. Like you could fire me.
Worse.
Yeah. Seriously, no, really. I mean, the games where they've played like shit, like the 4-0 Brentford that they lost at home last year, like that was all crap from the very beginning. This past weekend, they didn't play like crap. They just couldn't finish, and then they had a really tough decision at the end of the game that was made against them.
I mean, our game at 3-0 and stuff like that. There were so many other opportunities to fire him than now. I really thought, when we were like, there was like a chat going on, and like I'm in a couple of these like WhatsApp groups, in terms of like when I was like, I'm more like, I'm guessing November, like the international break is when they would do it. But I think, look, the fans, I mean, here's the thing. We're looking at our side, and I feel like we can be a bit more objective looking at it as people who don't support, more like hope for the demise of United. But yeah, you did not see anything, and I can see why fans, like I know my brother, for example, it's just like where are we even going? Like, where are we trying to even get so that we can say, okay, we're slowly getting there? And then people look at Slot coming in. I think like the most damaging thing to Ten Hag has been how Slot has come in and kind of made an impact of like how certain things have changed with a short limit of time, and you can already see a difference kind of thing. Given probably the squad is a lot better, a lot more experienced, a lot more professional and stuff like that. I mean, Slot keeps talking about like how disciplined the squad is, that he did not have to do any of that disciplining stuff that he normally does because everybody's already on time and stuff like that. I just feel like, there was no improvement, but we'll come to the game yesterday now. Because in the same WhatsApp groups, after one half, who, I caught out a couple of people myself, but I did not go to the other side where suddenly Slot was a yes man. He didn't know, like he needed this, he needed that. He didn't say anything, blah, blah, blah. This team can't win a title and stuff like that within 45 minutes. So we know how some fans can just flip flop very easily.
Oh yeah, and it's wonderful to see the overreactions from a single half when this fixture is probably the second hardest fixture in the league right now. I'd say behind going to City.
Yeah.
And I understand that there were injuries that in the back line, there are injuries throughout that team where you felt like, you needed to take more points off this team. But I think that was the problem with creating that narrative. And I think in the Friday show, you and Kazi were talking about the game. And, I was just thinking to myself, this is going to be a much bigger game for them than for us, but we're making it out to be much bigger for us. And I think that was going to be a problem because we were going to think of it as, oh, well, they're so hurt everywhere. You have to win. Yeah, they were hurt a little bit, but they still had quality around the pitch and the way they set up, and credit to Arteta as well. You have to give credit where credit is due. They came out a lot differently than what Slot expected, and he said so in the post-match where he was talking about how, Arteta usually talks about how they have like these 40 different formations that they go through. And Slot said, you can basically prepare for one of those. And we didn't prepare for the right one. And then at halftime, we were able to adjust and then go and prepare better for the second half. And so you have to just give credit to Arsenal. They wanted to come out and win that game. They didn't come out to play a draw right away. They wanted to play that game. It's really annoying looking back on it that you couldn't take advantage of Thomas Partey at fucking right back. But it's one of those games, and you're not going to win every game. And this is the second hardest fixture in the league. And I think a draw, especially after the game, is good. I think before the game, if we didn't make that injury narrative, we would have taken the draw 9 out of 10 times. And after the game, we take it 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, like if I told you, when we looked at this, I mean, I always go back to when we look at these batches, there's so many goddamn international breaks, like this batch of games, and you said 3 points, 1 point there, nobody would be like, what? 1 point at Emirates? That has to be a guaranteed 3. We have to take 3 or anything like that. And especially with the situation they're in, I mean, this all, of course, helps City. That's a different deal. But I just think that was the disappointing part, right? Like they were there to be taken, but they kind of harped on. I mean, pretty much everybody they complained that would not play, that Ellen complained about in the panel, and all these Arsenal fans were complaining about, were playing. Like Saka was playing, Timber was playing, and stuff like that. You could argue that some of them should not be playing because they came out injured, but that's on Arteta again. Like if you play a guy that's not supposed to be playing and he gets injured, that's kind of like on you for taking that risk. The Gabriel injury, I don't know what the extent of any of these injuries are. I didn't follow up on them, but I just feel, that was like, especially the Partey thing. It's funny that you mentioned that because I was like, okay, Diaz should be able to feast over there. But I know all game, everybody was talking about and complaining about, and that's what shocks me is Nunez and Mo and Diaz and stuff. Somebody has to get him the freaking ball. We could not hang on to the ball. All we could do is just play long balls. And what are you playing the long balls for? They were just picking them up because they were still sitting deep. They didn't have a high line. So it's kind of hard to, the ex-gunner says, hard, I don't like. And I think that's because we did not have the ball. Because he sure did not in the second half. Once we could control the ball a bit more, I think that was the biggest thing. I think once we could make the adjustment. So did the adjustment come in late then? You come out there, you're expecting Arsenal. I think we all kind of did, right? Pull off more what Arteta does against City and stuff, sits back and all that. So they came at it. I mean, credit to them. They came out to win. Why the adjustments came in so waited till halftime? Because it could have been a lot uglier by halftime, to be honest.
It could have been. It absolutely could have been. And I wonder if it was one of those things where there was just an idea of, well, they can't possibly go on for this long. At some point, the levy's going to break, and we'll be fine. But then the 25th minute turns into the 30th, the 30th turns into the 35th, and you're like, okay, it's not changing. And it turns into the 40th. At that point, it's like, well, shit, we're so close to halftime. We'll just wait till halftime and then make the adjustments we need. So I don't know if that's exactly what happened, but that's how I'm justifying it, because it makes sense in my head where you're like, at some point this isn't going to keep going this way, and we're going to be fine. And then once it gets too late, you're like, all right, well, it's not going to get fine. We're going to wait till halftime and do what we need to do. And that's kind of how I saw that.
And I mean, I realize it's not like FIFA where you can pause the game, change everything, and
Just take
restart.
2 breaths, just like.
So
Okay,
I realize it's not that easy to kind of like change, especially like, formation and stuff like that. But I did not expect like subs, but I thought maybe, it would be more of a conscious effort of the people on the pitch. You have a lot of experience on the pitch to say, hey, we got to slow this down. We got to calm this down because we kept giving the ball away. And I think that's why, I mean, it kind of helped, right? Like, we tried. That was very obvious, the Partey thing. But then it was very obvious that the way to do that was not to play the ball long over there and expect Diaz to beat him in the air and stuff. The catch was to go over the top of him and stuff. But to be able to do that, you got to have the ball and you got to lift your head up. I know Mecca had a poor game. Yes, he did. Jones didn't have a good game either. Robo got beat down like we all thought he would. And he was actually, Costas was really good when he came on. I don't know if that was because the bar was set low with Robertson, right? Konate definitely man of the match. I agree. I mean, he was amazing. Thank you, sir. Good to see you back in action here. I know about the beautiful faces, but
take the compliment, damn it.
I guess I'll take it and run with it. So at the end of the day, what is when you said, okay, there's going to be overreactions to like certain players and the slot and stuff like that. And it was just like ridiculous. I'm like, seriously, in 45 minutes, we went to slot being like, I mean, yeah, that group I was on, I was like, holy shit, this group, the group that a week ago, like I've been in there maybe like 3 weeks or whatever. And it is like, a bunch of like streamers and stuff like that. But like some of the people's over the top reactions when a week ago, they were nowhere near that narrative. You can't go from like 0 to 100 in one half of freaking football. I mean, that's just like ridiculous because you can't, if you were not saying it 2 weeks ago, don't say that shit now. But having said that, when you look at that, by the way, I really, really, really don't care. I think the only time I've ever watched Ballon d'Or was Van Dijk was up for it. I'm pretty sure. I heard like Real is not sending anybody or something like that. Somebody put in the comments earlier that Real Madrid. But anyway, who did you, in terms of your reaction, now that the game is over and it's Monday and you're grumpy, what do you say? Like, man, this really sucked for the long term. That gave you concern.
Before I give my answer on that, I'm gonna say there's a reason there's a lot of pundits out in the world. It's because they have those overreactions week to week. I think that's part of the game, is having people that have those overreactions from one week to another.
It is so fucking nauseating.
It is. So I agree. But you have, like even some of these YouTubers that do the watch alongs. I remember last year, like in February, March, or maybe January, February, someone was talking like Liverpool winning the league, the best team in the world, and the next week going, oh, all the wheels have fallen off. They don't know how to play anymore. And it's just, your people just will say that from week to week. But I think long term, and I hate having this conversation over and over, but the Trent thing really is just irking me, man. It feels like yesterday specifically, the body language was awful. He just looked so uninterested the whole game. And then, he perked up after he had that pass to Darwin that set up the Mo goal to level the game. But it just, aside from that, it just felt like he was super complacent. He was it felt like he was waiting for Ibu to clean up stuff for him. He wasn't clicked on enough to go for it. I think there was a moment in the second half specifically where I can't remember. I think it was Martinelli had the ball on the left side, and Trent was just giving him like 4 or 5 yards and just not even moving or anything at all. And he just waited until someone else came by. And I think it was Gravenberch finally came by to press Martinelli a little bit. But outside from that, I think the left back situation does need. We've talked a little bit about it, but I think we need to really evaluate that left back situation. If we want to talk about overreactions, there was one of the stupid Facebook Liverpool groups that I'm in. I think it's DC. Some guy said that I can't believe Robbo would give up that goal to Saka. He's not even good. And I'm like, at that point, it's just I said, it's fun being a biased Liverpool fan sometimes, but sometimes you have to take a step back and realize you're just an idiot. if that's what you think. He's probably top 3 right winger in the Prem.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
it's
I was
just
gonna put him like in a top 10. I mean, really, you take Saka out of that team, it's a different ordeal. Like even the Arsenal team, he's probably what Mo is to us.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And he's got 7 years on Mo, so he definitely has time to get even better.
Trent was really front of my. I mean, here's the thing. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think we're on the same on that one in terms of. Yeah, Robertson. I mean, I was worried about it to start with, but how he got done that easily, knowing. I mean, one thing, like we've seen Milner playing left back or right back and stuff, right? Somebody with no pace. But you gotta realize, I just feel like, Robertson does not cannot adjust his game to his diminishing pace or the new system and stuff like that, because everything that was maybe his strengths are not really used as much now. Like the constant energy of overlapping run. Well, we're not doing that as much anymore. So, well, there goes that. So I feel like, his overall play has diminished, his role has diminished. So you can almost see the writing on the wall on that one. So I don't know if we'll see cost us more. I don't know if we'll see a change over there. And I love Robo, but I mean, it is what it is. You kind of have to call it. It just feels like, I mean, that first goal, I was like, dude, how does that happen? Why would you even slightly bite to the short pass? Just play the game. This is the only guy that they have that we have to watch for. And it's on you to watch him. To let him go that easily, that's just crazy. Yeah, normally they target Trent because I think Saka was there. I mean, basically, that's why you knew it was going to be that side. Football Flashback says, and this is where I'm at, and I put this specifically in our Discord channel, that is this the body language? This is the guy. Yeah, I'm kind of done with this whole Trent thing. It's just annoying me at this point. Announce you're going to Madrid. Have a good life. See you later. Because this guy's talking about being a Liverpool captain and stuff. I do not want that body language from my captain. I just don't. And this is not even a calm as you like Van Dijk body language. Van Dijk looks like he's not really trying, right? Like when you look at it, he makes it look kind of effortless. He's calm as you like. This is not even calm. This is almost I don't give a fuck attitude. He's playing these balls just that didn't work and stuff like that. It's what are you doing? I mean, he gave up a ton of possession yesterday again after the Leipzig game. Of course, nobody says shit in the Leipzig game. I was the only one, and I was the bad guy because we won. Because we won. Yeah, I'm always fuck it. I'm really sick of the overall how he carries himself afterwards, and then everybody will go back to the goal coming from his pass. But yeah, I mean, if you try 30 times, I mean, if Robertson tries passes from the back 30 times, are we going to say Robertson is a great passer of the ball too? Because he tried it it's just nonchalant energy, he doesn't care, says Football Flashback. And that's what I'm getting. And maybe it was always like this. So let me ask you that. Was it always like this? And I'm just watching it more carefully now, or it's irked me once. Now it's irking me more and more and more, and I'm watching it closer.
Yeah, I don't think it was always like this, but it's been going on for a while. I think it's been going on since late 2021, early 2022. I'm pretty sure. I think after that Real Madrid final that we lost 1-0, I think ever since then there's
he gave up the goal in the back post.
Yeah, I think there's been a little bit of that more noticeable than it was before. And, you've talked about this before. We've talked about how when everything's going really well, when all the cogs are working and everyone is playing well, it makes everyone else look good. It makes everyone else play better. You can overlook some things. It's only when things start to break down where you really start noticing, oh, well, that wasn't good all along, or this was being patched up by this. And part of it might just be the attitude that we didn't see because we had Fabinho and Hendo there to clean up for him, where we didn't need to worry so much about it, so that the body language didn't need to be there because he knew there was always going to be something to protect him or someone there. So I think it's I don't think it's been going on since he came up, but I think it's been going on for about 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know. He does act like, from a guy who looked like he was at least trying, it's just gone to this guy who is like, he used to play with a chip on his shoulder and maybe almost like made an extra effort because everybody said he's not good defensively and stuff like that. And then he would sometimes fall asleep, but the effort was there. I just feel like now he's just like playing like his shit don't stink kind of thing. And yeah, Football Flashback says, I did not watch the interview. I did read a lot about it, that he did say he was going to like, that's his goal. Like, I guess they gave him like different things to choose from, and he picked Ballon d'Or, and he wants to win it as a fullback for the first time or whatever. And first of all, dude, that ain't happening. Your boy Carvajal never won it, so you're not. I mean, the guy won everything under the sun and was influential in it. He didn't even like. I don't even know if he got in the mix. But aside from that, yeah, you're not going to win it. And I get that, as he knows. Honestly, like, leave alone the Premier League, like leave alone Liverpool, the Premier League doesn't really produce a lot of Ballon d'Or winners. So that's another sign that he's going to Real. But you know what? Announce it. Have a good life. See you later. I just don't. And I'll still root for him as long as he's playing for Liverpool. He's a great talent. Nobody talks about, what kind of a player he is and stuff like that. But maybe his head is all over the place. Maybe he just needs the extension or like this contract done and over with, so his head gets back in it. But I just don't see it. I love Trent. He's a generational footballer, but he's never winning the Ballon d'Or, not even if he goes. No, I mean, no fullback is winning it unless they're like, hey, you're going to play midfield over here or whatever. He's not going to be. Dude, what did Vinny say? The biggest sign of sports
No,
nobody
he
didn't Paris today for the Ballon d'Or.
He didn't say anything. He's just not going. And Real's not sending anyone. Because I think I saw someone said that this was the first time for the Ballon d'Or where we don't know the winner beforehand, or
we always know the winner before.
Or I guess in the groups that would know, so they know who to send, who to invite. I don't know. It seemed like a weird tweet, and that didn't make sense because I was thinking back to the Van Dijk year, and we were hoping that Van Dijk was going to win, and there's still a chance for him to win. But I don't remember thinking, oh, he was 100% not winning. But I mean,
I kind of threw up inside my mouth like several times just watching that. That's why I will never watch a Ballon d'Or ever again, unless I'm up for it. I guess I'll go. But apart from that, yeah, I'm not doing that. You'll never walk alone. Families giving up his age over that. I honestly don't know how long this has been a thing. Did it start with like Ronaldo and Messi? Like they came up with an award for them or something like that? First of all, I really think it's a stupid award. But apart from that, I don't even know what we're awarding. Like, it's not MVP. Is it MVP? Like, is that what we're awarding?
It's like
is it
MVP
the best player? Is it the most valuable
world?
Player?
Well, that's the most annoying thing when it comes to, like, in the US, when you talk about the MVP, you talk about the most valuable player. That's different than being the best player. It's the most valuable player should be the guy. If you take this guy out of the team, this team is complete trash, right? It's not that he adds a little bit to it. It's that it takes away a lot. And I don't know I think the Ballon d'Or now and for the last 15 years has just sort of been Monday. It's the thing. It's just it's just for fun, it's marketing. It's what's the word? I don't know. I don't
commercialized.
Care.
Come
yeah,
on. Normally I just let you think,
I know.
Wait, dude, this thing goes okay. How old is You'll Never Walk Alone Family? But I mean, to be fair to him, I did not realize this was going on. This goes all the way back to 1956.
Oh, 56. I was gonna say I thought it started in the 70s. Yeah.
It goes all the way back to 1956. Kevin Keegan won it a couple of times.
And then with Messi and Ronaldo going back and forth, I think that's when the popularity of the Ballon d'Or really blew up, because then you're always talking about Messi or Ronaldo in that light, and it added to their rivalry, if you will.
And like, how did Messi win it for like like while playing in Major League Soccer, not even playing in Major League Soccer, occasionally showing up in Major League Soccer.
They won the World Cup. That's why he won it.
That is just fucking, yeah, this is why I don't follow it. But I did not, I mean, you can tell I don't freaking follow it because I did not realize that went back. So I'm looking at it since I started watching it. I don't even remember Igor Belanov in 1986. Shut up. I know you're not going to fucking remember it. But when were you born again?
92.
92. So I'm going to give you, 10 years to start watching and really following the game?
Yeah.
Okay. So Ronaldo afterwards it was Nedved. Do you remember Nedved?
I remember Pavel Nedved, Juventus. Yeah, of course.
Yes.
He was one of my favorites actually when I first got into it.
Really?
Yeah.
Shevchenko?
Fuck Shevchenko.
Ronaldinho. Cannavaro won. I did not realize Cannavaro won one.
See, as a defender.
Yeah, there you go. Kaká. I think he's the last defender to actually win.
Oh yeah, was Kaká won it and then he disappeared off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
He went to the MLS.
Yeah, he went to the witness protection program once he won that. And then it's like Ronaldo or Messi, who's the GOAT? For fucking 20 years. Modric squeezed in there. And then Benzema squeezed in there, which is good. It's almost like they should be awarded a special award for squeezing in there and winning it.
The Ballon d'Or in parentheses outside of Messi or Ronaldo.
Yeah, exactly. Is there really? Because most players, first of all, I mean, like Trent, get freaking real because certain positions never win this thing. Like you will never, ever win this thing. So, I mean, Benzema was nasty. There were a lot of nasty players last season, but somehow Messi won because Argentina won the World Cup. Like, did they even win the MLS?
No, they didn't.
He didn't even win the MLS. If he's that good, he can win the Major League Soccer for. So he won the World Cup for his team, but he could not win the Major League Soccer for his team. Get the hell out of here. So yes, this is why I despise Ballon d'Or, and this is why Trent will never win Ballon d'Or unless they sold him that he's going to play attacking midfielder or something like that in Real Madrid, and he's going to have a shot at it. But he specifically said he wants to win it as a fullback. So that's the thing I was going to ask you. So he wants to stay a fullback.
Yeah, so what that would entail is that they would have to hold the most clean sheets in the league, give up like the fewest amount of goals that the league has ever seen, while he is producing double-digit assists and maybe, scoring 5 to 8 goals himself. I think only at that point could he be considered in the conversation if you're thinking about the award like that. Outside of that, very difficult. Like you were saying, Cannavaro was the last one back in 2004? 2006? Yeah, 18 years ago. And that was, I don't know if we'll see another defender.
I'm scrolling down. I don't remember. I mean, these guys, Mateus, but I think Mateus at the time was midfield before. This is before he kind of like his progression as he got older, he kept stepping back like Milner as he got slower. Like none of these, I don't remember Bellano. I really don't. He was a striker as well, though. I mean, I could have guessed it without even like looking at it, I guess. But
he's from some Slovakian or Balkan state, right?
Rummenigge, he was like Karl-Heinz Rummenigge. Was he? He was midfield too, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even see anybody else over here that has won this as like a defender, because Beckenbauer was like a defensive midfielder, right? So yeah. By the way, Steve was saying it's been a while since we lost a player that I didn't want to see leave. Last was Coutinho, even though honestly.
But there's a difference here because you sold Coutinho. He didn't just leave. You sold him. And you made enough money to then be able to have the likes of Ali and Van Dijk come in. Having Trent leave on a free, at this point, I understand if he leaves, whatever. It is what it is. Having him leave for free is an absolute disaster. I don't care how you look at it. From Trent's point of view, from FSG's point of view, from our point of view, it's an absolute disaster to not make any money off of him whatsoever. I understand you didn't really pay for him since he came up through the academy, so you didn't spend a lot of money. but then that's all 100% profit you could use going forward.
Yeah.
Even if you sold him for 50, 60 million, which I think is fair in today's fullback market of his kind of talent. 50 to 60. I think people saying like 80 to 100 are kind of crazy right now, maybe 3 years ago. But today, like 50, 60, you're telling me you can't use that 50, 60 towards something? That would be, it would be a disaster.
Cody Paul says it's Trent will go to Madrid and Connor Bradley with the Dolphins.
That would be hilarious.
That would be hilarious. I think maybe is that the club being too naive, thinking he's the Scotsman on our team and he will not leave on a free? Because Sorzi says it's the club's fault. I like how nobody gives this to. So Trent leaving is the club's fault. No one else's. I don't know. See, I go back to Van Dijk and Mo, and if anything, put this on club for throwing it out there that he's leaving, and nobody was going to sign an extension without knowing what the hell is going to happen next. And I don't blame a player to committing for next 3 to 5 years of their career. For people like Mo and Van Dijk, the latter part of their, like the last contract they're probably going to sign. Mo might go to Saudi Arabia.
The last big one.
Yeah. And not signing without knowing what's going to happen. So, but club can do no wrong. FSG does everything wrong. That's how we roll. But I do agree that especially for Trent, they could have probably, because Trent is not in the same category as Van Dijk and Mo, they could have probably done an extension, but maybe Trent didn't want to do an extension. Sure. Maybe he wanted to go all along.
And I get that. But at the same time, though, if you come out in every interview and talk about how much this club means to you and what it means to potentially represent this club as a captain, what it means to win trophies at this club, and then you see what has happened in the past with players leaving on a free or not being able to give the club anything back, then I think it's a bit on you too. I don't think it's a big ask to have a contract, even if it's just for a year. Or, I mean, maybe not a year because then Madrid might just wait another year, but maybe 2 years in and having that conversation saying, okay, we're going to sell you to Madrid though, because you want to go there, whatever the case, we just need to get something back for it. Can we at least make this happen? If that's the kind of conversation going on and Trent was like, no, not really, then yeah, I think part of it's on Trent. I think if you really care about the club, if this is your childhood, boyhood club, there has to be something you can give back besides some trophies and memories.
Yeah, I mean, so if his player can extend if an extension opportunity is not provided. Yes and no.
I doubt there wasn't one provided. I really doubt that.
I doubt that as well. Or I doubt that if Trent says, hey, you know what, let's make this official. I don't want to go through this drama that he's going now. He's fucking liking this. I mean, which is even more aggravating to me, I think. A guy like Trent can say, I don't say this for Van Dijk and Mo. They're at the end of their career. They're professionals. They're not Liverpool for life people. Everybody's a professional in this business. Trent has ridden the wave of, a Scots on our team. I'm all Liverpool. I bleed Liverpool and stuff like that. If he goes and says, hey, I want to stay, let's make this official. But then, you know what, down the road, I would want to go to Madrid. Let's throw that in the contract or some shit like that. The club would not say no. Maybe, I mean, the club that approached him, we don't know. Mo said nobody approached him. But like I say, again, that's not the same thing. And the age is a factor and the background is a factor. And if you're sticking up for Trent on that one and then supporting his body language and how he's playing right now, well, you're part of the problem to me because that's why he's doing it.
I was going to say, that's the other thing. You can find, if let's say that there haven't been any talks, then he should still be playing every game as if it is potentially his last game as a Liverpool player then, because it could be. Every game now that he plays in his head, he knows this could be the last game. Then why sulk around so much? Why be so down all the time? Why give away the ball 13 times in your own half? It just, I don't know, man.
I'm kind of like done with the whole thing. Going back to what Steve was saying, I would be more upset if Van Dijk and Mo left as opposed to Trent. But let me ask you this. If Trent was playing in another team and we had, because we're talking like 50, 60, people were saying like 100 million and stuff. I mean, no way in hell. If Liverpool was looking at a right back on another team, that was Trent. How much would you okay with us chasing a player like that? The way, like, look at the guy yesterday. Like, let's say you were just tuned into another Bayern Borussia Mönchengladbach game. Trent is the right back for Borussia Mönchengladbach, and we're interested in him. Would you want him on your team? One, and how much would you want Liverpool to spend on a player like that?
Is he English or German?
He's he's English. Let's go English. Young English kid playing for Borussia Mönchengladbach. Jesus, really have to make a scenario for you here.
Because that ups the price right away.
I guess.
Right?
Give me a German rate.
Here's the currency exchange for you. If I'm just tuning into that one game specifically and I don't have any other context whatsoever, if they say 40 million, I'd be raising eyebrows. I'd be like, that's a lot for what I saw. That seems like too much.
For the risk, I mean, for the weakness, right? I can see, like, you saying, we'll figure out a way to utilize them, or, so-and-so will cover for them defensively. We have like Konate and Van Dijk or whatever. But would you really be interested? Because we kind of like find it difficult to put ourselves in this conversation. Because Football Flashback is saying, is Connor Bradley good enough to be our starting right back week in and week out? I don't think so, first of all. But if we were shopping for a player and you saw Trent as the guy, like how everybody goes and watches whoever gets rumored, like, everybody had so much of Zubimendi in probably like 2 weeks that, but, like stuff like that where people go and watch him, would you say, yeah, we got to get this guy? I don't care if he can't defend as a right back. He can really pass. He's got range.
Probably not. I mean,
right? I don't think so.
I think maybe the closest thing that we could talk about, like realistically, this would be Frimpong, and asking how much would you spend on Frimpong. But I think Frimpong is a little better defensively, is just not as good going forward. So I think
with Frimpong, he has the pace to make up for, like,
kind
of like Walkerish. Like, I never consider Walker to be a better right back than Trent. I think he's only better defensively because if he screws up, he can get back, catch back up. Similar to Gomez. Gomez sometimes takes like ridiculously bad positions, but he's so fast that he can get back into position and kind of make up for half the mistakes. Trent doesn't really have that speed. I feel like Trent's like almost like faster sometimes with the ball than without the ball somehow, like when he gets going. And I think, but I found it interesting that he specified winning Ballon d'Or as a fullback. So it wasn't like a lot of the talk was like, oh, we didn't move into midfield, and that's one of the attractions for Real and stuff like that. That doesn't seem to be the case.
Or just lip service. I don't know. Saying what you think is going to sound.
6 months later and be like, well, I figured I'm never going to win it as fullback, so.
Well, no, I came into Madrid and they sat me down and said, you know what, we think you'd be better as a midfielder. And I
guess.
and I believe in Carlo and his vision. He's the best manager in the world. I mean, you could easily say that.
There are like 20 right backs that could do the same job defensively. His dead ball feels a big bonus, especially in today's set piece focused game. And I agree. I mean, hey, look, I am not diminishing his quality as a player, especially when it comes to passing. But, and leave alone the defensive deficiencies, let's say, I mean, it's not like Roberto Carlos was the best defensive left back either and stuff. But again, he had to pace to make up for a lot of his like positional mistakes and stuff. But the body language thing, I just can't get past that. I'm sorry, I just can't get past that. And it's not like a Van Dijk calm as you like thing. Anybody who's watching it can see his attitude. And that just kills me because this guy wants to be your captain. So you're telling me you're going to make this guy a captain with that body language, and then a young kid that you bring up to the team is going to look at that and kind of take the leads? And don't tell me he will have a different body language when he's a captain, because then you can fuck off because you get the position if you act it. So you don't like start acting the position once you get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm pretty passionate.
I agree.
About it. Sorry.
I agree 100%. No, I think it comes from people will look for different things depending on what kind of person they are, if that makes sense. Like you've been in a lot of leadership opportunities, a lot of management opportunities where you're looking for certain characteristics in people that you think will be best fit for the work, for the team. And one of those things is body language. That's always going to be a big thing. So that's what you're looking for. Yep. So it makes sense why you're so passionate about it. Other people, they just look at who has the most amount of skill in this certain area right now, and how can I get the most out of that? And that's what they'll look for, right? So I think it makes perfect sense for that.
Yeah, I mean, Trevor says the old dress for the job you want principle. Exactly. I mean, I just don't understand the concept of like how he's gonna, like, some people were like, oh, he'll act differently then. Well, you know what? That's not how that works. And not to mention, so if you're another player in that squad right now, I just wonder like how people in the squad feel about it. I mean, you'll never find out until
I'll go ask them. I'll be right back.
Yeah, 10 years, 15 years from now, when like books come out and stuff like that, you'll never find out. But I just do wonder what, like how it's perceived in the squads. Do they see the same thing, or do maybe they know Trent better? Like they know they can look past the body language because I'm telling you, if I'm on the pitch with a guy with that body language, I'm fucking losing my shit, especially when he starts giving the ball away. You can act like that and play great. You can be Van Dijk, right? You can act like you're not really trying, but you know what? You're solid as a rock. You're like, okay, you know what? That's how you roll. But if you're doing that and playing the way you look on top of it, I will lose my shit because I'm busting my ass over here. I would just like lose it on you. Like the fact that Maldini has not won, by the way, should tell you that Trent is never going to win as a fullback. So he might maybe somebody should show him like some Maldini YouTube clips and be like, this dude did not win it, so you're not winning it.
Give up the dream.
We could move to a back three and move Trent to a more advanced so he can make a difference going forwards.
I think that's along the line. I think he's also
I'm sorry. He was talking about moving Gomez to left back. And then, no. I mean, that's not how this guy wants to play. And I'm all for it.
Yeah.
This is how he's going to play.
And then also, what does that say about Costas, to his mentality? I think Costas in the right situation, he's going to be serviceable at left back. I don't think he's the left back of the future, but neither is Gomez.
Yeah. And I don't even know if Gomez wants to be a left back. I mean,
no, he wants to be a center back.
Yeah, I mean, he said this before.
Why do we keep doing this? The man wants to play the position that he wants to fucking play. Let him play that position.
Yeah, Al-Nouri. Yes, actually, he does look good. I mean, here's the thing. Ultimately, and when the first half happened, not even the game, when the first half happened and people were losing their shit. I mean, look, this was the best way to go about this. We didn't like it. I mean, I don't think I liked it very much because I felt like some needs were glaring and could have been addressed regardless. But what we did was, wait and see. And it probably helped this transition period of going to a new manager, new system. The fact that the squad was consistent. You didn't have to bet in new players at the same time. And now with these windows, you can get players that slot once and will fit what he wants to do, because maybe he will go get a guy like like Gravenberg or whatever, you know what I mean, like guys who fit in this system and can thrive in this, because Robo and Trent thrived in Klopp's system. They might not have. Trent could have been a right back at another team and could be benched for not being able to defend and could be lost forever. Sometimes it's all about like timing and where you're at and stuff like that. So same thing with Robertson. Robertson, we signed from like a demoted team, for God's sake. So, and it was like for like pennies, it was like, oh, one of the greatest spies and stuff like that. It's just like a right player, right situation kind of a deal. So it gives Slot some time to get the guys in. I don't know if that's the kind of left back he even wants. So we're gonna, yeah. And then Trevor says, yeah, like you're pouting. It's like you don't give a toddler what they want if they start whining about it, because then they're gonna whine nonstop.
You need
and ask Jasmine and Layla. They did not get anything when they whined. So that's how
your left back should be left-footed, and who could also use his right foot. That's the dream, right? I don't want a right-footed left back. I want a left-footed left back who can also use his right foot, because it's very clear that he's going to need to be able to pass out from the back both directions. So that is what you need. And unfortunately, Rabo doesn't have a right foot. Costas has more of a right foot, but the bar is very low. And so you're going to want someone who can play with both feet and who can defend, who doesn't need to do so much going forward. I think that's the problem with Aït Nouri. As much as I like him too, I think he would have been a better fit for Klopp's system than Slot's system.
I think that's where I was heading to. I think you're right, because it fits that, like, he's always up top pushing and stuff like that. But I mean, here's the thing: maybe Slot is looking at the system, looking at what he has right now, and says, "Yeah, I mean, this guy is not going to be like Robertson is not as good when he cuts in and, like, try to does things like inside. Like, you can't use him like Trent. Like, maybe he wants to do something like that, but he can't. We don't know. I mean, football practice is because I don't see us winning the league with that weak left side. I mean, I don't think we should take Robertson to the back and like shoot him right away either. I mean, we had a non-defending right back for the last 5 years, and we were like, "Oh, we got to make adjustments to cover it." Okay, I mean, we can probably play accordingly on the left-hand side as well. He's going to struggle against fast wingers, but he did go against one of the best, like you were saying. I mean, I don't think he hasn't been great this season, but we haven't had a lot of games where after the game we said we can't win the league with this left back.
Yeah.
So I think it was partially because he was going up against.
Yeah, I agree. And, let's just kind of sit back and enjoy the fact that we are actually talking about possibly being able to win the league in November, pretty much, let's say, when in the summer there were a lot of question marks and uncertainty. Not to say there aren't still question marks and uncertainty, but it's nice to have this conversation and not like sitting 8th through 10th thinking, well, maybe this wasn't the best hire or whatever the case might have been.
Sergi says Alphonso Davies. I hear his name a lot, probably because he's good on FIFA because he's fast. I think that's why we keep hearing his name, because I don't know Gravenberch is like a rare exception. I think in most cases when Bayern doesn't renew, it's like a bad sign. And we kind of said this when Gravenberch first came over too. We're like, Bayern might know something, kind of a thing. But I don't know, because here's the thing. We don't really know. I mean, I don't. We're kind of like looking at, nobody knows that much about Slot. So we're looking at what he's doing now, and we're like, oh, this is probably the kind of player he wants. Maybe he's playing like this now because this is the squad that he has. Just don't know. Like, if he gets somebody else, he's gonna make like tweaks. Like, I would like to do this, but Robertson can't do that, so this is what we're doing. Or I would like to do this, but Szoboszlai can't do that. Whatever the case is, but I think we're gonna know more in the next 2 transfer windows, because the money is going to be there, ideally, hopefully, and stuff like that. So Monday, what are we doing? What's the game plan? What does the Prince do? Are we all moved out, packed up? What's going on? Give us an update.
I'm trying. I don't want to say much because I don't want to jinx
anything. And we go
anything.
squat the house. That's
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to jinx anything. But so today is quite a quiet, chill, nothing kind of day. Finally, thankfully, we had an open house yesterday, and there is someone who is interested, and we're close to accepting the offer. So I don't want to jinx anything. That's where we're at right now. That's all I'm going to say.
So interesting. Looking into what are the words that we use for players? Closely monitoring the situation.
Yes, precisely. We're monitoring the situation just like every other situation has ever been monitored.
I did see this actually, that Carragher was saying, and you would think he's close to the situation. And I don't know, he called me a hater, but I am okay with this. I am okay with, I value, when I made the listing of importance, I think this is the 2 I put on top in terms of how crucial they are to what we do on the pitch. And I do think Verge, definitely you're going to get another 3-4 years out of. He might diminish slightly, but a diminished Verge is better than most center backs in the world. And Mo, I think he can kind of like adjust this game and stuff like that, but we'll see. It's not like he got shredded by a bum yesterday. That's the thing. He went against Saka.
Yeah.
And Sergi says out of the 3, I would miss Trent the least. I think maybe he's doing it on purpose. He's taking it easy on Liverpool fans by making himself unlikable with the body language. So when he's gone, it doesn't hurt as much.
That would be quite the 5D chess move. I don't know. I think it's going to be tough. I specifically really like Trent coming up. I think he quickly became one of my favorites at the club. So for me, emotionally, I think it'd be a little bit different. On the pitch, maybe it wouldn't be the same as much as missing as the other two, but I think emotionally, I think because of how the circumstances around the leaving, I think it would hurt.
I think it would hurt more. Let's say, I mean, Kazi was talking about this. I don't want the stupid farewell tour thing again, kind of a deal, and I do agree. But like when you watch, their last games, blah blah blah, and stuff like that. I mean, Bobby is a player that I hated. We know Sergi and Mane, so I'm not going there. But like when Bobby left, like Bobby's last game, that hurts because I really, really, really loved like his game and his efforts and his energy and stuff like that. I think it will be that order. It will be Mo, Van Dijk, and Trent for me, just because it's kind of like I mean, Van Dijk is maybe like because defensive make life easier, but Mo has so many like ridiculous moments. I know it was most of them with. I mean, I'm over freaking like what 6-7 years now. He's like a 6-7 year wonder, and I do think
one season wonder.
Yeah, and he's staying and breaking those records that we talked about. He added another goal. We were looking at the numbers last week, so he just added another one. So, yeah, it should be interesting. But I'll be back tonight with Bickler and Galley. I'm sure we'll dissect the game a lot more, get their takes. I know Galley was already taking out Robertson in the back already throughout the game. And, yeah, it did not look that great yesterday. But, okay, on the way out.
Oh, God. Neither. Is that
really?
an option? Well, I mean, between the two, if we had to, probably Frimpong only. But it depends on if Trent's staying or not. I don't know. It's so weird.
We can just move into midfield.
I'd say Zubimendi only because I think midfield depth will always be a thing that you need to have.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I really would love to have Frimpong, but I'd probably say Zubimendi as well, just because I know at one point Slot thought that's the guy we need. So I'm just going with, trust the Slot kind of a deal. But trust in us tonight at 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. We'll be here for the Monday Night Podcast. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you guys then. Take care.